Today, and Roland and Cookie planned to do red, gold, green without telling me to do the gold. But it's all good, even though I'm actively answering my phone calls. Y'all decided to do red, gold, green with a chair without telling me to do the gold.
Well, so the chair
is the gold.
Yeah, the chair is doing the gold. Yeah.
This one is MPP.
But I absolutely love this outfit, Roland. Yeah.
You know, yesterday, Kenny Japan Get Connected submitted his presidential nomination forms to face the next level of committee that then will vet whether he qualifies to become a presidential candidate of the MPP. I was just so excited about some of the things he was saying. 2 years ago, I think we interviewed him right there in the studio.
You interviewed him?
Yes.
Yeah.
So. And then, of course, we had Brian Champong, you know, yeah. But it's the pattern and then the vituperations that have been...
The what now?
The what?
The words that have been targeted at each other.
You
Fantastic people. Let me say good morning to you, Guy G. Guy G is with the Get Connected team, as well as Kwesi Kwati and the rest of all the individuals. Yesterday, I saw a sticker doing some... missing link signs there.
With his hands, right?
Yeah.
What was that? Can we take a minute to appreciate the detail on the sleeve of your
fantastic,
shirt, though?
fantastic.
Yeah. Now, you haven't noticed, have you?
I have. I was complimenting him and he carried it
motivated by
vituperations.
Yeah. You said what did you say?
You said I've never heard the word.
Are you getting
No, but how did you pronounce it?
Vituperation.
Good morning. Thank you all for joining us.
Roland, we are complimenting you on your outfit.
Roland, take it easy.
This one is by Simca.
Roland, take it easy. Take it easy so that we can appreciate you.
Okay.
First of all,
compliments.
Please give me close up so that we'll see the detail.
And you're wearing a double bracelet. You're wearing a double bangle, like you're wearing bracelet, like gold bracelet.
Wow.
And it's double.
It's kind of matching his glasses.
Oh, wow.
Charlie. Good morning to you, Guy G.
Roland, accept compliments.
We have Kweku Aaron Brasso. Good morning to you as well.
Why are you such a rigid gentleman?
What's happening?
Chairman Godwin Tamaklo, Sally Fukomba. Good morning to you.
We're not used to love.
Please mute their mics.
Roland Walker.
Zato and Solo, mute their mics.
It's okay to accept love.
We don't want these disturbances. Zato and Solo, please mute their mics.
It's okay to accept love.
Zato and Solo, mute their mics.
Wow.
Roland.
And we have cash out. It goes with the short code.
Roland Azoli. Thank you. I knew that.
Riches Kokoti, lawyer Emmanuel Padi. All of you who are watching us this morning, we say thank you.
Listen to this
the
one.
Reverend Seth.
Roland, this would interest you.
Yes.
This very one.
Okay.
So today,
Yes.
Someone that you very much love in this house.
Fantastic.
My support system. One person without whom I am nothing. Bless Okanse, aka Chantel. It's her birthday today.
Hey, Chantel!
Shanty baby.
I knew that would make you take a pause.
Chantel baby.
It's Chantel's birthday today.
Chantel. Chantel, come.
She's the studio hand that we have. Please, no, she says that she's shy, so let her be in the corner.
Why shall you
She's
shy?
taking everybody's photos, helps us with production and stuff like that in this house. Chantel is doing makeup for us sometimes, you know. She's amazing. Chantel, bless Okanse.
Happy birthday, Chantel. We love you, Chantel.
Happy birthday.
You know, when she walked in, I noticed the drip, right?
Yeah, the drip is dripping.
But I wasn't, I was like, hey, Charlie. But then the drip is always dripping. But today's drip was like next level.
Exactly.
So I figured there was something going on.
And
happy birthday.
Paparo has to start paying for his videos. Every morning when he drips like this, once he comes in, Chantel, try video.
When I want to call you, and I know that maybe the time is odd.
To plan your outfit.
Yeah, because Chantel said, Charlie, your mama day. Your mama day, and I will tell me, say, Charlie, mama day. But what are you doing for big issues?
You are loved. You are so much loved. Happy birthday to you, Chantel.
We are addressing one big issue right now.
Yes.
But anyway. We start the show with this morning. And this morning, we're going to be looking at that investigative report on the Greater Accra Regional Hospital.
Apparently, the nurse didn't have a fracture.
Well, that's what the committee reports.
Yeah, and the nurse, they've been showing her pictures and things.
The
strong
videos.
MPP member. So, it fits into the conspiracy
who
that maybe...
Who is a strong MPP member?
Calm down. She's not the one.
Okay, let me.
She's not the one.
Apparently, she's not the one.
She's not the one.
Let me
Calm
say good
down.
morning to Moses Note of the Ghana Police Service.
What's up with the mischief this morning?
But
But anyway, we're just going to take a quick look at that report and some of the recommendations that the committee has made, especially in terms of security for our nurses and medical practitioners who are doing so much to ensure that we are all right medically. And that's what we're going to start off the show with. And of course, we're going to move on to big issues. And we're going to look at the issue of protracted land disputes in Ghana.
Hey.
If you've ever tried to buy land in Ghana, you know the issues that come with
You
it.
are discussing that as big issues.
Yes.
Now you need like 2 hours.
Well, we need many days to talk about it.
And so recent times, I didn't know that when you buy a land, you have 90 days to register it. I had no idea at all.
You have 90 days to register
you have
it.
90 days to register
After
a
buying
land
it.
when you buy it.
And
90.
after starting the registration process, how long does it take
Oh my
for that
goodness.
to end?
Oh my goodness. And I remember when
It's another issue.
I remember when I used to work in the bank, you know, when people came for loans, you had to go to the land registry to ascertain the, you know, the documentation
Validity
they've
of the
brought and
documents.
stuff like that.
It's a story for another day. And so if you're watching us and you've tried to buy land, I'm sure you understand. Even the duration, how long you will own the land for, and the nature of the title you get in the land is another issue altogether. And we're blessed to have in the studio with us today Professor Kwame Jan, who is an expert in Ghana land law, who would help us understand these issues and how to possibly bring an end to these disputes which have existed since time immemorial. We also look at the Bagri Dam spillage, and we started looking at it yesterday. We'll look at it in a little more detail today. Shamima Muslim will be here.
Shamima. Alhaji
Umoro
Bini
Ayan,
Rabushala.
yeah, will be here with us as well, and that will be it for big issues this morning. And I think we'll further look at the recommendations by the investigative committee from the Ministry of Health on the Greater
So what did they say?
Regional-
That they should sack the nurse? Or what did
Well,
they say?
that's not what they're saying.
So
I'm
their
not surprised.
recommendations were more geared
Exactly.
towards security.
And they are saying that there's no visual or video evidence or even
Evidence.
photo evidence that suggests
Or
that the woman
eyewitness evidence as
or
well.
eyewitness evidence that suggests that the lady in question, Ness Rejoice, was attacked by the 7 men or the other 50 who were outside, and all the reports that we had heard. There's absolutely no proof that she was attacked, and that there's a condition that they said
The
constipulation.
fracturing, yeah,
there's
of her
a
shoulders
condition. Yes, let me
So
be
let's
right
just
about
look at the
that right now.
recommendations. We didn't play our this morning stinger, but that's okay. So these are the recommendations from the investigative committee. 1, to improve security presence at the emergency ambulance and triage area.
Polycontusion, yeah.
A police officer present at the emergency department post 24/7, in addition, is a necessity. And then take immediate steps to recruit additional clinical staff. All right, because there's a staffing issue as well. Then take steps to restore the capacity of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital to provide imaging services, X-ray, CT scan, MRI. And this was because the machines were not working at the time. One of the reasons why some of the delays had been occasioned. Then 5, recruit additional administrative managers to serve as client service officers at the emergency department. All right.
Well, so the GRNMA is saying, or they have challenged aspects of this committee's reports, and they are saying that the nurse was indeed attacked, and it's insisting that the official medical diagnosis was recorded as polycontusion. Polycontusion. And they can ascertain and actually attest to the fact that she was attacked and was diagnosed with polycontusion.
Okay.
But the committee says that there's no visual, eyewitness, video, or photo evidence to
What
that
about
effect.
diagnosis? What did they diagnose? I think we
Well,
need
the
a full
diagnosis
report.
is saying that she was diagnosed with polycontusion.
Polycontusion.
Exactly.
All right.
But the committee is also saying that there's no evidence to that effect. So whose report do we believe this morning?
I don't see why the
committee.
nurse would lie. They are saying there's no
But nobody has said the nurse
evidence.
lied, though.
They are saying there's no evidence. I think we should leave it at that. So
That's
there's no
true.
evidence. So they didn't get evidence.
I like
but
you said the nurse name
absence
is
of
Rejoice
evidence-
Wabote.
I don't know her last name. The absence of evidence doesn't mean that it actually did not happen. It just means that there's no evidence.
Let me say good morning to Eduji Tamaklo watching. It says good morning to you, beautiful ladies. It said, Roland, when you wake up in the morning to sit among beautiful ladies, you will be confused like you are this morning. Am I confused?
You are not confused. No, but why can you not accept praise and love and appreciation? I wonder why. How did you grow up?
Who hurt you?
I grew up, I grew up in Ashama.
You just cannot accept it. Why?
You know what? Let's actually.
So are you trying to say that Ashama people do not accept and receive love? Is that what you're saying? Chantel is from Ashama. I don't get it.
Let's talk to our callers, please.
Confused
Hopefully
ladies.
they send some love to Roland this morning. Our first caller is joining us from the Savannah region. Hello, good morning. What's your name?
Good morning. My name is Ibrahim, calling from the Savannah region.
Ibrahim, we're happy to have you. Tell us what's on your mind.
Yes, let me say good morning again to you, and then Kukuti and Mr. Roland.
Thank you. Good morning.
Well, I am from Savannah region. I want to touch a bit on what is happening in our area. I am a Gonja by tribe, and I grew up in Calabar specifically. And what I know is that we and Beaufort, we dine and wine together. When I was a kid, I used to go to the bush with the Beaufort guys, with our cattle. And I think what is happening today is something that is confusing myself.
Are you referring to the dispute in the Binyuri area?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, so with our cattle, and I think what is happening today is something.
Referring to the dispute.
Thinking all pray that the IGP and the government is able to work on the whatever that is going on there, so that there will be peace. Yes. So the rich hospital issue, you see, we just have to be careful, because what the lady said and what the committee is bringing out is uncalled for. They seriously have to do something about it. I think she wanted them to do something to Ralph and the guys that went to the Rich Hospital. Myself, there was a day I had accident in Upper West. That was 2020, before the election. I was taken to the War Regional Hospital. I was on the bed till daybreak. Nobody attended to me. And I had to run away from the hospital to Nadoli Hospital for treatment. So sometimes what they always do in the hospital is seriously bad. It's seriously bad. But, well, since all this is happening, I think the health sector too, or the health minister will also do something about it. At least in future, we won't be recording such.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for the call. You can also call us. The number is on the screen. Cookie, you've not told us about cash out this morning.
Yes, 8 people are winning 2,000 Ghana cedis each. 8 people winning 2,000 Ghana cedis each. Coco, if it's okay, let's bring the code exactly. *439#, *439#. You choose option 2. You follow the rest of the prompts, and 8 of you out there can win or will win. So long as you play, you will win 2,000 Ghana cedis this morning. So please get playing and play as many times as possible. One coupon will cost you 5 Ghana cedis, and you can play in multiples of 5 as many times as you can. So please get playing now. Well, we are getting messages here on Facebook, and Mansa Majid says, Cookie, happy birthday to Samuel Ofei. Today we celebrate a proud son of Jumo in Tano South, a shining example of determination and humility, and a proud product of Bechem Presby Secondary School. All right. Happy birthday to you. More messages coming in this morning. Na I think Benuga Kokuvi says, nah, please, she was attacked. That is a fact. We all saw the video. You want to believe the GNRMA at your own risk. That's Kokuvi speaking to you now. Okay. Wisdom Bedra says, understand that collusion to impose a charge on Ralph is the main work with nurses. It was the reason Ralph went to Nogokbo to compel their conscience or their conscience to the truth. That's what you mean. If they are there to say falsehood, Nogokbo will strike. Understand the falsehood in their overpowered state's instructions. Okay, I think I understand what you're trying to say. Irakwa, okay, there's another caller. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
I don't think she was the only person on duty that day.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Yes, we can hear you. Where are you calling us from and what's your name?
My name is Idrisu from Tepa.
Okay, Idrisu, you already started speaking before I could get your name and where you're calling from, but please continue. What were you talking about?
Yes, I was talking about the assault case in Rich.
Right.
The case was, they didn't sentence on only the document. Evidence. What they said was, they called on evidence. Those who were witness. I don't think she was the only person on duty that day. But no nurse or any staff member is able to come out and tell the committee what really happened, or they saw anyone assaulting her. Yes, so we must be careful about how we always, do things with politics in this country. You see, you think you are playing politics beside this thing, but by the end of the day, you will put yourself into trouble.
Okay. Idrisu.
Let's take it. There is no evidence, and we shouldn't talk as if the committee didn't do their work well.
Okay. We appreciate your call.
That, they are still complaining that they didn't consult the person who attended to the nurse at the beginning. That is not true.
Okay.
Which is not true, because I'm sure that all these committee work, all these things that we are bringing out was done in the hospital. So they should have given them all the clue.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your call too. Ayurakwa Ayape Richard says, Dr. Tinkran's posture is not only dangerous, it is creating hostility between Ghanaians and health workers, especially after the committee's report. Now, any sign of negligence, real or imagined, may be seen as intentional. Nurses and doctors live among the very people they serve, and their safety depends on their trust. By stirring division, Dr. Tinkran is putting the entire profession on risky grounds. If a nurse can even manufacture a complaint, what more should the public expect? All right, guys.
Say that. There was no conclusive.
It's their opinion. And I'm told that host is also calling from Tema. Host, good morning. It's Ghost.
Someone.
Oh, wow. Hello, good morning. It's really Ghost indeed, because he's ghosted us. We didn't hear
Do
from
we have
him.
some messages coming in?
Wow.
Yes, so we have a couple of messages, and Prince Daniel York is calling from the UK, or is texting and watching from the UK. He says, my question is very simple. Was there a witness? Did she as a net get that fracture? If there was nothing like that, Nananum seemed to have taken over. Let's wait for Nananum's report too, because that is what Ralph went to do. He went to consult the gods, our forefathers, the supreme being. If something happens, the gods are not to blame. Aksna, she
I wasn't there.
is the playwright.
I beg you.
Oh, wow. I don't go home. It's
Account.
not part of
Wow,
it.
wow, wow.
It's not part
There's
of
no
it.
Praise
evidence.
Daniel York.
There's no
Alhaji
evidence.
Jibril, National Security, good morning to you. And the managing director of the Tema Oil Refinery, great guy, lawyer Edmond Combat as well. And then we have Prince Henry Kofodia says, tell Cookie that Dr. Tinkrine is now being speculated to be doing more politics than representing the matters of the nurses. The future is pregnant. PHK. Osei Boateng says, I'm a nurse, and some of the difficulties that nurses face are not being talked about. Why is it that nurses who migrate to other parts of the developed world will give you testimony about how standard operating procedures in the developed world makes it easy for you to work, even though so hard just to make sure you pay your taxes, but in a congenial environment? Why is it that the politicians go to give birth outside? It is because they know that the facilities are better. There are two sides to the coin, which is that the nurses are disgruntled, the doctors are not working in a good environment, and then Ghanaians and the patients, on the other hand, think that they are not well received when they get to public hospitals. So we should find solutions to both sides. How come Ralph entered the premises without any hindrance? Why don't you leave the nurses who are professionals to do their work?
Well,
Julius Logas Nikwe Kote, aka the CEO for DVL, says I should tell you good morning. Julius, good morning.
Logas.
Julius says he's watching.
Good morning, Logas.
Watching closely. Watching
good morning, Logas.
Logas, good morning. All right.
We have to cross over to Johnny
Johnny.
Hughes, who's on standby with Johnny's Bite. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey, why do you pardon? The way you, Papa, you know Papa.
Figuratively, he bites as hard as he can.
Okay.
And of course, when he puts his fangs into you, you certainly feel it. I think it pretty
Watch Johnny's Bite. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anoint my head with oil, my cup runneth over, and surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. Assalamu alaikum. It's Thursday, the 28th of August. Welcome to Johnny's Bite. Let me begin by saying big thank yous to Sonar Fashions in Tamale for my outfit this morning. And they so well. Charlie, the guy is good. The guys are good. With all the guys who work with Sonar Fashions, they are so good. They're in Tamale, a place called Kuko. And you should connect with them sometime soon on 0246 590 162. That's 0246 590 162. They'll get you something that will lie nicely and smoothly and gently on your earthly frame. That's your skin and your body. And you will be so delighted that you chose them, because they deliver not just in Ghana and in Africa, but across the world as well. So please remember the number 0246 590 162. That's 0246 590 162. And they will delight you. That I can promise you. Also, let me say thank you to our trot drivers, our taxi drivers, all the people who watch us and listen to us, the creme de la creme, the high and mighty, the low and bubbly, those who tell me every time when I meet them, they tell me, oh, they were late to school, they were late to work, they were late to wherever they had to go because they were busy watching Johnny's Bite. I want to apologize to you and to beg you and to ask for your forgiveness, and to also say that we are in this together. We are in this together. So let's work at it and make sure that Ghana is a place to be. Now, I want to congratulate a gentleman who many consider a comedian. He used to be host of Eziban Zizi here on TV3. A great actor, great voice-over gentleman. And many don't know that he was a schoolboy for a very, very long time. Now he has graduated. The great Kwame Jokoto, MSc Defense and International Politics 2025. And I'm sure that he went for this graduation for good reason, because These days, when you want to talk, people say, oh, where is your certificate? Who are you? What are your qualifications? And not so long ago, people were brandishing their qualifications. When GTech came, like the way FBI came into town, people have begun using the ones that they know they can go and justify with GTech. But this one, I can tell you that he went to soldier school and he has graduated. A round of applause for Kwame Jokoto. If you do not know, now you know. And this is a great, great, great lesson for all of us and for everybody, that no matter how old or grown you think you are, you can still go to school because education has no end. That's the beginning of our sermon. Now, yesterday, I had the privilege of being at the, first you see me with some children. Yesterday, I had the privilege of being at the Anglican Sunday School Association, ASA, they call it. And I'm a very proud old boy of ASA. And they were talking about teenage pregnancy and education with the young people. They invited me to come and share my 2 cents with them. And they love Johnny's Bite, I can tell you that for a good fact. They love Johnny's Bite. So from the coordinators to the facilitators, Reverend Father Dr. Ajimanu called me, Mr. Tego, we call him Little Sammy, Mr. Joseph Klotiakwe, all the guys. Thank you so much for guiding our children. Now listen to them, listen to them. So you see, if you don't watch, the next generation is watching actually. So we're growing with the next generation. We have the older generation, we have the middle class, we have the now generation or present generation. Her scorecard is there every time. We don't have to rush. The scorecard is there. And, you know, yesterday I'm glad that we shared 1 or 2 things with them. Lawyer Dujita McClure of the NPA, good morning to you and thank you so much indeed, Council. Now, let's begin from where the plane crash happened. The state has honored. You remember I was here a few weeks ago to applaud the gentlemen and ladies who went out of their way. Nobody had instructed them. The spirit of patriotism kicked in and they decided that they will go out there and help with the rescue mission. First, to put a quote card up. And they have all been given 100,000 CDs each. They're in a group of young men with citations, and the President Mahama has honored 13 Sikaman Brofuedu residents with 100,000 Ghana cedis each for recovering helicopter crash victims, and presented chiefs with 20,000 Ghana cedis to facilitate the traditional rites to purify the place, as it were. So if your patriotism is real and it kicks in when you're not doing what they call in the barracks eye service, you actually will be rewarded in good time. It doesn't matter when, but it will come. And I want to use this as a point to let us all be patriotic. So we'll stick to our what do you call it, our job description. Some of us, people call us at 1 a.m. 1 a.m. Is that part of my job description? 1 a.m. When you are relaxing to wake up at 4:30 a.m. to come to work. 1 a.m. Some people bring their personal issues. Some people bring their, you air out money from your pocket, fuck up money from your pocket, and you have to support them. Is that my job description? The many things that we do in this country, and many other people do many other things. If we don't learn to take criticism and we don't learn to be patriotic from the deepest depth of our hearts, we will all crash one day. And I'm talking to all of us. If we don't take time to be patriotic, we don't take time to be committed, and we don't take time to speak truth to power and to ask the questions that matter, but we'll decide to shield everything. If these young people had said that, oh, The plane crash, you are to say, in Crawford on better for me, NDC for MPP for NTN to Minko bomb. Could Dr. Mwakun Hene and all the people who went out there to do the rescue mission, could they have succeeded? If they had said that Ochiala, they are sitting in a plane, or multi-plane, in a form with Fumuha, and Rumha, no more better form, Sebi, no move, Ochiala. They could have said that, but they didn't say that. They could have said that, look, we are focusing on our work. That's our job description, to farm, to harvest, and to sell. So we are not focusing on anything else. What could have happened? This is great pride for them, for their families, for their communities, and for all of us. They could have just said, look, people who live in Accra don't give a hoot about them. People who even live in Kumasi don't care, don't give a hoot about them. So they won't care. They won't mind they should perish. Whatever happens, they should be there. They don't care. They could have said that. And there are people in this country who say that. They say that without shame. They say that without shame. To the point that you have somebody say, we have marked them. They should come. We will show them how professional we are. How shameful. Very disgraceful indeed. It's a mark of humanity, mark of patriotism. And we should all bow down our heads in shame if we have said that at one point or the other. Ghana belongs to all of us. Ghana is the only country we have. Let's stop the silly politicization of every single matter that we find. Have you seen a white man running away from his country to come and pitch camp in Ghana because the economy went bad? Have you seen some before? We are the first to pack our bags to leave. Look, take me to the Rage Hospital report, please. They say, what do you call it? The shortage of nurses. Now, if you look at the figures that are being quoted, there's a shortage of nurses. It's there, the quote card is there. Now, I keep wondering and asking myself, so all these stark revelations or startling revelations, would we have known them if this unfortunate incident that happened had not happened? You're telling us now that 88 out of the 88 nursing staff who routinely work at the emergency department every month, only 54 are currently at post, with about 34 already vacated post without replacement. That's a committee report. 88 nurses are supposed to be working at the Accra Regional Hospital, what is called RAGE. 54 of them are currently at post. 34, Otilon. So if the government in its wisdom, or the Ghana Health Service in its wisdom, or the Ministry of Health in its wisdom, had decided that, okay, with all the shortage that we have, you take these 88 nurses and work with them. And then 34 of them leave or vacate post and are not replaced. Is it not a smart thing to do by asking that the 34 be replaced for you because human lives will be at stake? I'm asking questions. These are very commonsensical questions. That's the first question to ask. 2, these 34 nurses who have left or vacated without replacement, did they vacate the right way, or did they just stop coming to work and that's it? And what is the payroll saying? What can the human resource manager or administrator at the Rage Hospital and the administrator tell us about these 34? Are they still being paid? Is this basis enough for us to start doing a payroll audit? Because it is the taxpayers' money that goes to hire and pay these nurses. 88 of them. So all along, everybody will be walking around thinking that, oh, Rage has 88 nurses. And this should signal an investigation into all public health facilities. Yes, they should signal it. Let's go to Korle-Bu, let's go to Kaneshi Polyclinic, let's go to Adabraka Polyclinic, let's go to Tamalip, let's go to all the facilities. And then if people have vacated without the appropriate authority or through the right channels, let us find them and let the Lord deal with them. Let's retrieve our money, operation recover or loot. No plea bargain and whatever it is. No. Find them and let the Lord deal with them. Because we keep complaining about ghost names. And I keep wondering, if you have administrators at a workplace that belongs to the state, how do you get ghost names? Because if you come to my establishment, if I haven't worked, I won't be paid. So how do you get ghost names? And the ghost names only happens in state institutions. Who is chopping the money? Let's find out. This should signal an investigation into all the public health sectors. We can extend it to the schools and everything else. But let's begin from the health space. Let's begin from there. We have to begin from there and stop this Atasa attitude. There's another slide on the Ridge Hospital report. I won't talk about fractures. I won't talk about dislocation. Let it live in your head rent-free. The truth is one, and the truth will always stand. I won't talk about dislocations. I won't talk about it. I won't talk about it. But we all know that the truth is one, and the truth will always stand. This has also exposed us to the point that, look, we have politicized health. And I keep telling you that there are 5 things we don't have to politicize: health, education, security, the economy, and agric. Sadly, we have politicized all. And in these few weeks, you have seen how politicized the system is. Yesterday, I showed you photos from Korle-Bu where the drip, as we call it, is supposed to hang on a pole, but the pole is not there. The bed sheet is stained. On social media, people were fighting me that why so nurses are taking the flag. They think that it is them I'm talking to. But when you went to school, did your school teach you to go and be fighting or placing new patients on bed sheet that some other patient that used with blood stains that cannot be washed away? And the excuse that the blood stain, if you don't wash it early, it doesn't go. If you don't wash it early, it doesn't go. Don't use it. Stay true to the course and stay true to the principles. If you get to a workplace as a carpenter and the tools you need to work with is iron, hammer, and nail, you will ask the person who employed you to provide the hammer and nail to enhance the quality of work that you do. You don't go asking for a pay raise. And by the way, conditions of service is not just about money. If your urinal at work, you don't have water flowing through your urinal at work, and you are getting infections, it is part of your conditions of service. I think that we should all as a country pause and slowly read Act 651, the labor law of 2003, Act 651. Pause and read it slowly from cover to cover. You will see that it doesn't just talk about money. It talks about your safety, and it talks about the responsibility of the employer to you and your responsibility and the duty to the employer. Who is the employer in this case? It is the patient. It is the patient. And you see, consistently, I've had people complain about the fact that you get to the hospital, you find people on their tablet. I am not the one saying it. Look, it's been said over and over and over again. Andy Dusty, senior in the trade, in this industry, he had to cause what, for want of a better expression, commotion at the same Ridge Hospital. because somebody was time for somebody to what do you call it, inject his late big sister, and the person said it's 4 o'clock, Mapong. It's 4 o'clock, Mapong. 6 wait, please. It's 4 o'clock, Mapong. And the person just walks out. It's 4 o'clock, Mapong. The sick person is lying there. The oath you took is to the sick person, not for yourself. But the sick person is lying there. It's 4 o'clock, Mapong. The person to replace you has not yet arrived. If you are at a duty post as a soldier, as a policeman, playing sentry duty, and the person to replace you has not come, you don't leave. You stay until the person comes, then you hand over to the person. So how is it that you leave a dying person or a sick person whose next moment you cannot tell and say, Mapong, I'm going? And when we talk about it, you get angry. You get angry over what? What are you angry over? If I sit here and I'm supposed to hand over to AJ Akwaku Sapon, and I don't see AJ or the newsreader, you hold the fort until it happens. Because if you tune in and you're listening to us or you're watching and you cannot find the content you're looking for, you will tune off and go to another place. That's why people go to private hospitals. I have mentioned here before, way before Ralph started talking, I mentioned here before, it's part of the conversations around the implementation of the conditions of service. I said here that, look, the last time we retooled our hospitals, I spoke about it. You have forgotten. You choose to listen to what you want to hear. The last time we retooled our hospitals was more than 10 years ago. Was more than 10 years ago. Now, if I have hired you to come and do a certain work that requires certain tools, and you go to work and the tools are not there, but at the end of the month you come and take your pay, you should be questioning your integrity. You should be questioning your conscience. You should be questioning your conscience. We can all do better. The citizens have a role to play. The patients that come have a role to play. The state have a role to play. The professionals also have a role to play. It is not a one-sided, lopsided conversation that when you start talking about professors, so we are now beginning like some of the university lecturers, you talk about them in SRC meetings, somebody will go and snitch on you, and then the next moment, whether you have passed the exams or not, they will mark you down. What kind of nonsense is that? How do we build a society like that? What kind of nonsense is that? Look, I'll give you another example. This is Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital. Now, and I'm happy that the Minister for Health, Kwabena Minta Kando, MP for Dwabuso, he said that, look, I'll provide security at Ridge. I have stood here and told you how somebody's motorbike was stolen at Ridge. The matter was taken to the same Adabraka police station. There's a police post there. The motorbike was stolen. It was an emergency case. The person took his daughter to the emergency. By the time he got out in about 30-40 minutes to go and buy medicine or whatever it is, the motorbike was gone. When he asked the question, he said somebody has come to sign his signature. He signed out and picked the motorbike. There's a police post there. There's a hired security man there. The case has been with Adabraka police. The investigator now doesn't pick the call of the owner of the motorbike. And that is a fact. And that's not the first motorbike that has been stolen at Ridge. And we know it. Yet we pretend. And when the matter comes up, we want to be so emotional and to pitch professionalism against whatever. Please. Please. You cannot be more superior than your employer. You are partners and stakeholders alike. Look, take me to Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital. This is a memo. When we talk, then you talk. But this is a memo to all directors, all heads of departments, CNOs, or senior nursing officers, all administrators, all notice boards. This is from Korle-Bu, from the Chief Executive Officer's desk. It's dated the 25th of August, 2025. Diversion of Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital business. It has come to the attention of management that certain staff members have been engaging in activities that divert the hospital's core business to private facilities. These actions include, but are not limited to: 1. Prescribing of services or medications that are readily available at Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital and directing clients to purchase them from private facilities. And some say they get a cut when the medications are sold to such patients. 2. Engaging private facilities to collect blood samples for tests that can be conducted within the hospital. So you find them wearing their lab coat, they go from ward to ward or wherever it is, they extract the blood and then they take it to private labs outside and then they go and do the tests. Question 1, how safe would the blood be and how safe would that be to the patient in terms of the diagnosis and prognosis? And in whose interest are those things being done? 3, using Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital facilities and resources to perform surgeries while collecting money with private receipts or without issuing any receipts at all. Such practices constitute serious irregularities and result in significant loss of revenue to the hospital with immediate effect. Any staff member found to be involved in any of the above mentioned activities will face disciplinary action in accordance with the policies of the hospital. Management urges all staff to uphold the integrity and financial sustainability of Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital. Thank you. So you are the same persons who are engineering the stealing and robbery of Korle-Bu. How does Korle-Bu get proper IGF to be able to buy the things that they have to buy? No, I'm asking you. You are the very person who is engaged in robbing Korle-Bu. And I've said this before. And we have the videos. You know, when in the past when I spoke about the renal department, I spoke about the fact that, we're charging more than we had to charge. You remember that same Kwabena Mintakano, he stormed there as a ranking member of the health committee, all of them. You remember that? I was told that, it's only one person. What I'm saying, in fact, it started by saying that what I'm saying is a lie. And then I produced one receipt. They say, it's only one person. Then I produced 2. They say it's 5. They say, it's only 5 people. Then I produced some more. I was going to produce a lot more. Me, when I say I know, I do all my work before I come and stand here to start talking. So when I serialize your matter, I am serializing it with facts and figures and documentary evidence. Yes, Korle-Bu bearing me witness. And I want any group or any association or any union at Korle-Bu to challenge, then I'll put the videos up there. That your uniforms and the colors that you're wearing would tell the people the unions you belong to. Oh, yes. I will tell you how the bloods are extracted and the samples are taken and then how people cross the road, etc. Why do we do this to ourselves? The state cannot do business anymore with the state. I'm not against the private sector. But if you want to come through properly, not through the back door. If you want to come through properly, not through the back door. We run our state institutions down and then we go ahead to bastardize them and then we go ahead to say that, then let's privatize them and sell them off. Why are we so damn wicked? That's a TASA attitude. And TASA, you have no place here, TASA, you have no place. So I will be watching if Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital's management will actually deal with the situation as boldly as they have indicated in this memo. I say people wear lab coats and we all assume that, because they are wearing lab coat and working in a teaching hospital, then they actually are working or workers of the institution. Some of them don't work there. They work with private labs. They cross the street and come and take samples and take away. And you and I know that when samples are taken, the blood samples are supposed to be handled in a particular way. So we will go and procure our reagents and everything else. They will keep them at the central lab. Things that the central lab can do. Somebody will sit in the consulting room and recommend that you go take it elsewhere. Then we'll go and procure the reagents, and the reagents will be there, and they will expire, and we'll go and throw them away. Taxpayers' money, we waste it, and we come back again. There is a systematic problem within the health structure that must change. And we must change it. I'm telling you. The insatiable desire of doctors wanting to be administrators of it must change. Administrators must do the work of administrators, and doctors must do the work of doctors. Finish. You may not like what I do. You can mark me. I don't care. I don't care. There are bigger and better people who have died in circumstances. I don't care. I don't care. And in wrapping up, let me tell you this. Yesterday, people were jubilating and said that, oh, President Mahama said that he's not going to run for a third term, and that blah, blah, blah. If you believed that he was actually going to run for a third term, then you must have Taflache, your head examined again, Taflache. Must be re-examined again, Taflache. Because there's nowhere in our constitution that supports that claim. And you see, again, we politicized the committee work against the removal, around the removal of the Chief Justice. We politicized it. Because we say that, oh, the president is now packing the Supreme Court with his people so he can pave the way for him to do. I mean, Abba. Now the man has come to say, okay, I'm not doing a third term. So all the arguments that were made by all the fine people that we know, what becomes of them, and how should we be looking at them going forward? Some of the things, we should not politicize them. Not everything must be politicized. Here ends my sermon. Please call me 055-924-2717 and 055-691-0154. Good
stated a lot of things, including some recommendations for the hospital, especially for its emergency department. And some of the issues in the report, or some of the matters arising from the report, also suggest some, if you like, the report suggests that some of the claims by the nurse cannot be substantiated. There's no evidence of some of the claims by that nurse. We're going to go into the recommendations, especially for the emergency department, where we begin our discussion proper. But also, this morning, we're going to be talking about another issue which affects all of us, and that centers on the conflicts concerning land in Ghana, land disputes. If you have ever tried to buy land or bought land in this country, you know what I'm talking about. This issue affects almost all Ghanaians, and the issues are sometimes deeply rooted in unclear land ownership records, chieftaincy and family tussles, rapid urbanization, confusion about what the process to register your land is, what the actual documents should look like, and so many. Like I said, if you've ever tried to buy land, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We're going to try to go into what the actual cause of these disputes are and what we can effectively do as a nation to manage these conflicts, which sometimes result in loss of lives. If you've ever had a brush with the people we call, what do we call the people? Land guards. If you've ever had a brush with them, you know how dangerous this can get. Not to talk about loss of money, investments, delay in development, and so much more. We'll get into that. And if we have a little extra time, we'll talk about the Bagri Dam spillage and how it affects the communities, farmlands, livelihoods of Ghanaians who live especially along the Black Volta, and what we can do to mitigate this annual nightmare that the people are confronted with. And we might also look at the Akwatia by-elections. It will be a packed discussion today, but we'll do the best we can in the time that we have. You're welcome to be a part of this conversation. Now, to meet our guest on the show today, a gentleman who I'm very, very happy, humbled, and pleased to have on this show today, for reasons I will not disclose.
I will disclose.
For reasons I will not disclose, and Shamima will not disclose on the show today, Professor Kwame Jan. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Nah.
It's a real honor to have you on the show.
I'm privileged to be here.
And you look great. You look very handsome this morning.
I'm aging graciously.
Yes, in fact, backwards.
You know,
You should tell us what the secret is.
it's the grace.
It's the grace of God.
It's the grace.
Okay. Well, we're glad you're here. Also in the studio is our sister Shamima Muslim. She is the Deputy Presidential Spokesperson and a strong women's rights activist, for which we love her so much. Hi, Shamima.
Hello, Na.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. And congratulations. I hear your show.
Oh, my stage play.
Is doing
Thank you.
Great. And
Thank you.
I was listening to the reviews this morning. So it's inspiring me to come and watch this weekend.
Thank you, Shamima. In fact, I invite all three of you to come and watch Death and the King's Horseman at the National Theatre this weekend.
So you're doing well.
So thank you. I appreciate the comment. Also in the show, our favorite public interest advocate, Rodlin Imoro Ayana, is here. Rodlin.
Yes, Anna.
Did you see how I pronounced your name in full and properly today? Thank you very much.
Inspired by the African look.
Oh, yes. So we promised to wear African prints, even on other days aside Fridays. Because
it must
it must be worn.
Yes,
it must be
we
worn.
have to promote our own, and it's very nice to wear African wear.
Yes.
And it can be used at all times.
Yes.
When in doubt, wear African wear.
I was going to say that. You said that last 2 weeks.
Yes.
And I have it imprinted in my mind. When in doubt, when you go anywhere in doubt, wear African prints. It always works. Well, you're all welcome to the show today. I'd like us to first look at some of the recommendations made by the investigative committee on the Greater Accra Regional Hospital's Emergency Department. Let's take a look. 1, improve security presence at the emergency ambulance or triage area. A police officer present at the emergency department post 24/7 in addition is a necessity. 3, take immediate steps to recruit additional clinical staff. 4, take steps to restore the capacity of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital to provide imaging services, X-ray, CT scan, and MRI. 5, recruit additional administrative managers to serve as client service officers at the emergency department. All right, so these are the specific recommendations made by the committee in respect of the emergency department. There are other recommendations and other issues which came up in the report, but I want to look at the recommendations, especially since Shamima is here. She can let us know what the government will do immediately to address these issues and the recommendations subsequently. Shamima.
Right. Good morning, everyone, and good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning. Before I jump into this, I'd just like to extend our condolences to the family of the former finance minister, the Honorable Tepe, who lost his wife a couple of months ago, buried in US, and today is organizing a service at the forecourt of State House in her honor. So on behalf of the presidency, we extend our condolences to the Tepe family on their loss, and we will join you later for that. Also, good morning to the people of Akwetia. We will come into that, but Akwetia is going green, we hear, and rightly so. I always say that seek your present interest and ensure that you take decisions that lead towards more benefits for the mass of the constituents. And for that reason, and given the fact that you are now in a pole position to make a decision that would uplift the constituency, because the NDC is in power and it is better for the interest of the people of Akwetia that you vote for the NDC candidate, Lawyer Bediako, to ensure real representation in Parliament, and also by extension to help you have a strong advocate in the government to ensure that your needs will be met tangibly and in record time. On the issue of the health issues, this morning I was listening to your program. What's his name again, my friend?
Johnny Hughes.
Pardon my brain. Speak about the state of Korle-Bu. I think that we are all in agreement regarding the state of our health sector. And we agree that Ghana's health sector, irrespective of the talent that we produce every day in terms of the human resources, the doctors, the nurses, the pharmacists, across board, Ghana has very, knowledgeable healthcare workers. Are they enough? The answer is no. Is our healthcare sector fit for purpose? The answer is there is a lot more room for improvement. All of us, now you, me, Prof, Auntie Rodaling, we are all health seekers. At some point in time of our life, everybody would be a health seeker. We would go into our health, institutions to seek health care. Even healthcare providers themselves are healthcare seekers in the same institutions that they lead, they work in, they manage. So it is in our collective interest to work together collaboratively to address our challenges. Because when we are all healthy, this country is healthy. But it would seem as if that a few leaders who are also the face of our associations, example with the Registered Nurses Association, seem to want to be on a coalition course with their number one key stakeholder, an advocate, the health minister. In this system, your number one key advocate is the health minister. And if you watch what he's been doing since he came into office, I beg your pardon, it has been to move away from his office and to be present in the institutions. Why is that possible? How would a leader understand what is happening if he is not visiting these healthcare sectors and institutions to find out firsthand what the problems are, with the view of finding lasting solutions collaboratively? Not to call people out, not to, because all of us citizens complain open the phone lines and hear many stories from ordinary citizens about harrowing experiences they have had in their quest to seek healthcare. Negligence is part of healthcare delivery. When we concede to it, we are not saying that you don't do well. Because of the lives you save, your actions sometimes directly or indirectly also take lives.
Well, what do you mean when you say negligence is part of healthcare delivery?
Even the healthcare, the associational president concedes it, because there will always be a negligence that will lead to the loss of lives. And today the health ministry and the Ghana Health Service, as the health minister said, has had to deal with a lot of suits against it as a result of negligence, happening in public, institutions, happening in private institutions as well. So we recognize that mistakes are part of life, but they are costly mistakes. Some mistakes are also avoidable. If the regime is robust, we should be able to minimize fatalities in the line of care so that negligence does not become the cause of a loss of life, but unavoidable, end. Because, of course, sometimes the cases are such that the end would be, a fatality, a loss of life. So what is worrying for me is if you listen to what the health minister said in his last accountability series, the government accountability series, where the Honorable Minta Akando took his turn, and you look at what has been done for the health care sector since January of this year, nobody can come to a conclusion that this government has shown non-commitment to the issues of our healthcare. If you pardon me, with regards to reforms, the health sector commitment, the universal primary healthcare that we promised, the reforms in health financing, which led to also the uncapping of NHIA, which rose from 9.7
Shamima, I don't mean to cut
to
you.
1.73 billion from previous
but
years.
I want you to speak directly to some of the recommendations which have been made by the investigative
they are contained
committee.
in even what we have set out to do already.
Some of the recommendations are contained in what you've set out to do.
Yes, because those problems with the inadequacy of healthcare officials in our health system, they are persistent problems. They didn't just rear their head because of this incident. The absence of proper security in our health sectors is something we've been dealing with. Babies get missing in hospitals. So the inadequacy of security at our healthcare, people steal things, people's things in wards. You've gone to see care, you're being taken care of in a hospital ward, and you lose
all these
your
problems.
things.
All these
So
problems. We are aware of these problems, but specifically to the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, the report says that out of 88 nursing staff, only 54 were present, with 34 having vacated their posts without replacement. They also speak about issues with the MRI, X-ray, and other machines which are not available. Now, all these things are said to be contributing factors to the delay in healthcare delivery at that particular hospital. Now, that is the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. Immediately, what plans does government have to immediately solve this problem? Because obviously, it has contributed to this altercation that we saw, unfortunate as it may be. These are some of the things that have contributed to it, so that we don't see this happening again.
The Ridge Hospital is one of
future.
the institutions that is going through the reforms with regards to equipment renovation and maintenance. And as I said, these are things that have been communicated by the health minister.
It's begun?
Through PPPs. So the health ministry is working with the private sector to ensure a comprehensive retooling of our health institutions because of the recognition that there are gaps. There are infrastructural gaps, there's human resource gaps. And what are we even doing with the human resource? Look,
we have a lot of nurses who are waiting to be placed.
And at the end of 2016, we had absorbed all waiting nurses because of the hospital infrastructure that was started, completed, operationalized. The first quaternary hospital at UGMC is the first in West Africa. it was completed under JM1, which ensured their, recruitment of nurses. The nurses who are working there. The Greater Accra Regional Hospital, this Ridge Hospital, under JM, is it not under his first term that we completed the expansion project? And it was, look, even when we're speaking about the quality of that hospital then, people said it was all propaganda. Infrastructure in the Green Book was reduced to propaganda. But these are the institutions and the health sectors across board, the chief's compounds that were set up, the district hospitals that were completed, that ensured the absorption of nurses. As at 2016, National Call, we had absorbed all nurses that were waiting. And
all
today,
right. I'm trying to
continue with the infrastructure.
I'm trying to get the numbers of the current number of nurses who are still waiting. And I'm also hoping that by the time we finish our conversation today...
In 6 months, now, 10,000 nurses and midwives have been employed in 6 months.
10,000?
10,000, as the health minister announced.
Between January
and... Salary arrears for 321 pharmacist house officers were paid. 1,621 pharmacists were supposed to be in their final sector for recruitment. They were going through their final stages for recruitment. 13 countries have shown interest in Ghana in terms of working with us to employ our healthcare systems. So I'm saying that
we are sending more of our people away
because of this
the quality
of infrastructure to absorb and pay.
But now we have infrastructure at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, and we don't have enough people working there. So while I understand what you are saying, yes, we don't have enough infrastructure. And so we can't absorb all the people. But the infrastructure we have, which can absorb at least 34 extra nurses, has not absorbed them.
So
and so
you asked the hospital management,
so yes,
what is the reason for the shortfall?
Okay.
And they may also raise the issue of clearance.
There are issues of clearance.
The issue of clearance to
I'm going to come back to you.
New nurses. Okay. Also because of the attendant effect on the public purse.
Okay.
So we have to have a genuine conversation. And this is not the time to ensure that, to start behaving like you are on a war path with your number one advocate. And look at the shame that has come to these individuals involved in this matter. We all sat here and condemned in no uncertain terms that nobody should feel unsafe in their space or space of work. No one. Government cannot endorse callous behavior from any vigilante citizen seeking to enforce their rights through illegal means. Assaults can never be encouraged as a tool for seeking redress.
All right.
So government
let's come to
lie and to fabricate stories and to have your own executive leader come on air and purport that something had happened which had not happened is unfortunate indeed. And I think the members of the GRNA...
the report said that there was no evidence.
There was no evidence.
Should we translate that to mean that it did not happen?
It obviously did not happen.
They said there was no evidence.
What was described
as their word against hers. It's their word against hers.
And we saw the videos.
Okay, let's come to Rodney now.
The investigations must mean something. The investigations said that there was no dislocation of shoulder. So, you don't have to exaggerate a problem to make your matter sweet. Because when it does, it creates more distrust amongst all of us. And we all become the victims for what we allow to happen.
All right. Now, from a public interest point of view, how does all of this strike you, and the confidence that we have in going to a hospital to, have the assurance that we will actually get care and then come back home? And I ask this question in respect of both patients and also those who work in the hospital in terms of their safety.
Good morning to all our viewers and to the rest of us here in this panel. Now, I'd want to say that a lot has happened since this Rich Hospital saga came on. And if you follow the social media angles and the various topics that are coming up, you get the feeling that Ghanaians are not really happy with our healthcare delivery. And there was so much written about, there were so many negatives coming from Rich Hospital and other state hospitals. And I felt that it's about time we actually had a look at our hospitals in general. People prefer private hospitals now to go into the public hospitals. It's beginning to look like how we've rejected our public schools and are now going to international schools. Even if it's supposed to be a mushroom one, it's better than going to a public school. And therefore, we also find people going to these mushroom health centers because of the type of behavior that we find in public hospitals. People prefer to go to quack doctors who have opened clinics and call themselves medical centers or private clinics, and they go and die, than going to the public hospitals. And I find that very disheartening. There was also a lot of talk. I mean, if you look at it gradually, you look at it that people are beginning to think that nurses that are being employed are not up to the task. You hear all manner of things being told about, oh, they are not qualified. They went with 54. They went with 49. They went with whatnot.
And in terms of marks?
In terms of grading, YC,
Okay.
before you enter the nursing training college, which is not true because it's for me, a lot of them go there with good grades. But I have a suggestion that I think that maybe we should look at. If it is so difficult to enter medical school, you want to be a doctor, you must get good grades. You are expected to have good grades. That should apply to our nursing institutions. And I think that what we have seen, there was so much politicking also going on. Oh, they are MPP. That's how come they're behaving like that. And I think that we should try and depoliticize our institutions of health and education and all the other things. But I'm just saying that if it's difficult to enter med school because you need to have very good grades, then we must also find a way to make sure that we get the best to enter nursing schools. I don't think that it is right for us to leave our health to people who will use the schools as an afterthought, a profession as an afterthought. I didn't get to university, so I might want to go to nursing. So I am advocating that if it is possible, at the time that you have a WASI form in front of you and you're choosing a university, we must have a nursing training college on it because it's now a tertiary, most of them are tertiary institutions now, the nursing training colleges. Most of them, they do the diploma. Yes, they do the diploma, they do the degree. I think it should be included so that you choose nursing as a first option. First option. So you want to go to University of Ghana, you want to go to the KNUST, you want to go to UCC, whatever. But there must also be, you want to go to this nursing tertiary institution. And there must be cutoff points for the public to have confidence in the nurses. Because I think that some of the things that we say, the utterances, the way some nurses are being looked down upon is because people feel that they are not qualified to be there. But that may not be the case. So if we make it that you choose to be a nurse by choice, not because you did not get an option to go and do business administration or accounting, that might be able to help us. Because at the end of the day, the best must be the ones caring for us.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. We must get people who can decipher well, who can think through, who can look at you and know that you deserve the best care. Not just because I didn't want to be a nurse, but because I couldn't make it to any institution, I decided to be a nurse. We have the same thing going for teaching as well. In other jurisdictions, teachers actually are supposed to have the best grades. But here we are in Ghana, it is always an afterthought for some. So generally, medical care in this country has gone down. I have had a experience. First-hand experience about it. You go to the hospital and, to be honest with you, young doctors are overworked, are overstretched, and sometimes you don't even get the opportunity to go and have a meal. I've had that, where a young doctor had to say that, I am hungry. I can't do this. So you ask yourself, why? What kind of administration is going on at our hospitals to the extent that we cannot even offer a cup of cocoa drink to our doctors or to our nurses on duty? What is so expensive about a hot cocoa drink when we produce cocoa in this country? And you're looking at all the MRIs and whatnot they are going to put there. The maintenance culture of this country is such that even when you go and put the MRI there, the X-ray machines there, you will find that it will get faulty. Sometimes deliberate, unfortunately, because doctors who are working in certain medical facilities also have private facilities. And therefore, they will intentionally, I take it that they intentionally break down the state one so that they can refer you to their private.
That's so wicked.
That's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. You understand? And the same thing applies to even the pharmacies. You go and you're looking for medication. There was a time years ago that we're told that state procured medicines were being exchanged for inferior, especially when it's going to the north. So you find
exchange for inferior
quality
where?
from India and other places.
When you say exchange, what do you mean?
You know, what happens is that you have, say you have nifedipine, which is for high blood pressure. The state buys from a certain company. So you are sure that you are getting the right thing. It comes to the state hospitals, to the pharmacy, and the pharmacist exchanges it and goes to get Nificat, another name. That goes to Tamale, Bolgatanga, and the rest of us. Yes. It has happened in this country, and I'm sure it is still happening.
What's the reason for this?
The reason is that one is more expensive.
Right.
So we get the cheap ones. So you continue taking it and maybe you're not getting well. These are things that happen. You look for detergents. I mean, government will provide detergents to hospitals, will provide other things to clean up. And you enter hospitals and you come out with disease because the washrooms are so bad. Where do these logistics go? These cleaning agents, where do they go? And I read some of them saying, some patients saying that you come to a hospital and it's like the prescription is given to you, the pharmacy doesn't have it, but the nurse has it in her pockets.
And she's selling it?
And she's selling it, sometimes at exorbitant prices. Do you blame the nurse? I mean, if the administration of our hospitals is such that the nurse has to probably use her own money to go and buy because she knows that these people will need this. Sometimes it's either they buy or another patient is not making use of it. You understand? Because I've had a situation where I am lying there and it's like, oh, Auntie Rhoda, can we borrow this one? Can I take just this case of Petidin? Or can I just take this to use?
To do what? To give to another patient?
To another patient.
Is this a case of they not being able to afford?
Exactly. So I'm saying that it's either the patient cannot afford, so you just relax, or the patient later returns it and you don't get it because you've gone home by then. You understand? So there is so much. I think that...
The problems are many.
The problems are many, but the majority of the problem is that, the major problems is that we must find people having confidence in our healthcare delivery in this country. We must have confidence in our doctors, confidence in our nurses. And the nurses too must have the right tools to work with. I'm happy that they're going to give them some of those things like the MRIs and the retooling of some of their facilities and stuff, because it makes it very, very difficult. I sat there and I said, how do you go to a hospital to be working without gloves? You know, when you come into contact with all sorts of human fluids and you don't have, a nurse doesn't have gloves, a nurse doesn't have an apron, you know, and then they'll tell you all manner of things, the difficult situations that they face. And all these things, some of them, the ones that I say have the calling to do nursing, are ready to do it.
That's unfortunate. I'm coming to you, Prof, but I'll come back to you, Shamima, to speak to the equipments which were mentioned in the report and the fact that they are not functioning. And it's not a question, but more of a plea for government to turn its attention to providing some of these equipments, MRI machines, X-ray machines, clean clean infrastructure in terms of the bathroom. If you've been to, aside the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, which in fact is newer, if you've been to Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital, sometime in about 4 years ago, I happened to spend a lot of time there because a friend of mine had a neuro issue, subsequently died because there was, I've forgotten the name of the machine, but that machine was not available. After the doctors did all they could for this child, were able to do a successful surgery for this child. He died after the successful surgery because there's a certain monitor or something that was not available.
Post-operation care.
Terrible. So I'm going to come back to you, but Prof, let's talk about the legal implications of the claims by the nurse and the findings of the committee. So they're at total variance with each other.
I reflect on the engagement you had with Shamima relating to whether the absence of evidence to prove means it didn't happen. I think the writers of the report were very careful in the choice of words and phrases. When they say that there was no evidence, it means that information that would convince them that the event happened was not available. But it doesn't mean that something may not have happened. Maybe what happened was not a fracture or a dislocation. So, but I'm very interested in the negligence part of the conversation. You remember Asante Kramu versus the Attorney General. So negligence in medical treatment, I would not say is a Ghanaian thing. It's a worldwide, because if you go back to the case law on torts, almost every jurisdiction have cases on professional issues arising from medical treatment. The question that I am asking is, if these things, some that are avoidable, if you have the right training and the right tools, we probably can avoid some of the lawsuits that the minister has been lamenting about, because those judgment debts will ultimately come back to the Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service. But let's look at the question of public hospitals versus private hospitals. At the end of the day, all the nice private hospitals, when they get acute situations, they go back to the same hospitals, the public hospitals that we are saying are in horrible condition. So yes, you will start from the finest private hospital. You still cannot beat the Korle-Bus and the UGMCs when it comes to the technical competences of their personnel. I have had experience to go to Korle-Bu. My own family person and one of my senior colleagues at the university. The quality of the doctors that were around, you can't match it in our private hospitals. The challenge is, one, whether the facilities are adequate to carry out a particular procedure, and the post-operation management of the patient. Because of these two reasons, I had to carry my own son out of the jurisdiction for a heart surgery in the UK. Not that the doctors here couldn't do it, but the post-care. Very true. Very true. The post-care. So I think where we are as a country, we should depoliticize the question of healthcare and see it as a global problem for all of us as Ghanaians. These systems do not care about your political coloration. When you go to Korle-Bu, nobody will ask you whether you are MPP or you are NDC. You are a patient who would be at the point of death. And if it is training, our folks are as good as any medical school or nursing school can train them. Because their colleagues are the ones who are conducting the surgeries in the hospitals in Europe and America. They are medical school colleagues. They will refer you to a colleague in the UK and say, go to this hospital, a Ghanaian doctor trained in Ghana. will conduct the procedure. The problem is the facilities they have here. Yes, there are some renegades in every profession. You find some renegades. But generally, I don't think the quality of the training and the output is the problem. You can imagine a doctor or a nurse sitting there without the tools, without the facilities.
They'll be handicapped.
Yes.
No, and I will give you an example. We have to also appreciate something. Most of us Ghanaians are Christians or Muslims or traditional African believers. We give a lot of support to religion in this country. The Republic may not have all that it takes to fit all the hospitals in the same day and make them like paradise.
Yeah.
So it is about time that some of us who give monies to the churches and the mosques put something into the local facilities where we come from. I will tell you, my village has a chips compound. Some nurses go to work in the night, no security. They complained. For the last 5 years, I pay for a night security at the facility from my own resources, so the nurses can work in the night. So a security man reports for duty at 6 p.m. and leaves the next morning when it's open and daylight.
God bless you.
So we should put some private support into some of these things. I'm not saying the state should check its responsibilities. The state should be responsible. But we, the individuals, where we can, we should make a contribution. I've seen people and organizations donate to hospitals. Yes, this is in good taste. We should continue to do those things. But if we have enough nurses that we can export, then we should make sure that our hospitals are filled with nurses before we export. The export is good, but is it not in the Bible that Jesus also said you have to feed the home people before you carry the food to the outsiders? So let's make sure that our hospitals are filled with the requisite staff. Then we can export.
I agree with you on that point. And also agree with you on private supports for our medical facilities, just like we do for our churches and our pastors.
We do plenty for the pastors. Tithes.
It's encouraged.
Sowing of seed.
To wrap up this conversation, Shamiman, just to wrap up the conversation, can you speak to the facilities and tools for doctors to work? You've spoken about some of the health minister's interventions since he came into office. Let's talk about the facilities as well.
So we are expecting regular briefings from the health minister with regards to the progress to what he himself has communicated to us. And if you permit me, let me just, in terms of infrastructure and equipment progress, what he said, that inherited key projects that we have completed within this short period, Koforidia, Goso, Asawinsu treatment centers, Pantang, Nkenkanso ID training centers.
What has happened
Efiang
in Pantang?
Kwanta, La General Hospital, Cath Maternity. These are projects that were ongoing, that were almost complete. And so they prioritized the
in terms of
completion
infrastructure
of those things and even some other elements. I will give you the full reports on that.
I mentioned Pantang because only yesterday there were some reports from Pantang in terms of their infrastructure. The doctors were asking.
But you should know that,
Pantang
like we have this problem we have is not a problem we can use one day to solve.
Yeah, so
and every region, every district wants something. So sometimes it will be an upgrade of an existing infrastructure. It will be a correction or a maintenance issue, but that will not deal comprehensively with the need to have more hospitals across board, more district hospitals, more regional hospitals. You know, there are some new regions that do not have regional hospitals, and they need to move, you know, miles and kilometers to a neighboring region to be able to access healthcare. In the northern parts, a lot of the major health problems, they have to come down to either Tamale or come down to Greater Accra to get done. I mean, if you're complaining about deficits in some of these medical equipment, at least in Greater Accra, you'll find some. in many of the northern regions, you will not find any. And so poor patients have to cough up money to move their sometimes high ambulances to bring, you just said it, even mammograms. So as for the deficit, it is acknowledged. And if you listen to what he said in terms of the Agenda 111 projects, and this is not a government that is interested in silly politics at the expense of the taxpayer and the Ghanaian citizen. Of the Agenda 111 projects, those projects that are over 80% complete are going to be prioritized to full completion and not abandoned, because it is Ghanaians and our resources that have gone into them. Talk about equipment upgrades that you're speaking about. Konfanochi is on the table, Korle-Bu is on the table, Cape Coast, Lekma hospitals are all on the priority list for upgrades for equipment. And also the latest announcement for within this year and next year to complete at least 2 new chips compounds in every district assembly. In every district assembly. Because again, the allocations to the district assemblies have gone, and they have directed every district assembly to ensure completion of at least 2 chips compound. And when we do this, it creates more space for you to then also employ people. Let me tell you what he agrees to be the acknowledged challenges. Health worker unemployment remains a major concern to government. How do we absolve the many that are coming out of our health training institutions and be able to pay them their conditions of service? Because if you take our health budget, education budget, they take a chunk of the public budget in terms of, emoluments and salaries.
You said you've employed how many this year?
10,000.
10,000.
Yes. According to, yes.
But there's still a deficit.
Of course. Yes, of course, there's a deficit in space and also for payment. Otherwise, in the 24-hour system, if we could afford, we will bring in more.
But the nurses already run 24 hours. So
you see, it has to be tapered. So I'm saying that in such a system where they can tell you that on a 9th duty, the optimum, staff that should be at hand is a certain number, but it's less because of what?
No money.
Do you see it? So these are comprehensive. Then generally the infrastructure deficits and industrial actions. And these posturing by leaders who should be more interested in how we sit around the table and solve the problems. So what is the vision for the future in terms of the healthcare where the NDC government is concerned?
Please wrap up for us.
Yes. One is to ensure we are able to implement the free universal primary healthcare. The Mahama Care also is coming in to at least remove some of the burden on our health institutions with regards to the treatment of some of these specific conditions under the program. Then expanded training, incentives, job opportunities to empower the health care worker and the workforce in particular. Then technology to ensure that our infrastructure meets global standards. And then investment in pharma and vaccines research. And if you know, we did pay Gavi over 23 billion Ghana cedis to import vaccines. And the promise then was that by August we will receive it. And those vaccines have come through. So please, instead of thinking of ways to sabotage the system, a system that you cannot, protect yourself from, let's think of ways to work together as Ghanaians who will all be health seekers at some point in our life. And at the point in your life that you are a health seeker is the point that you are the most vulnerable. And so we don't need to think in political terms with some things, with education, with health in particular. So if you're a leader of a union, please don't think of your own political ambitions and then use unfortunate incidents to become, springboards for your selfish ambition at the expense of the problems that bedevil this health, system. If we had followed what Nkrumah did, by now, Ghana should have been way ahead. And even with our challenges, do you know medical tourism is increasing in Ghana.
Yeah.
Medical tourism.
Yes,
a lot of
a
people
cousin left UK to come and do a major operation in Ghana.
It's cheaper.
It's cheaper.
It's cheaper.
Because
and you
even
get
with the advanced
Is
countries,
this an elective surgery?
well, no, she had a major problem.
Okay.
And the wait period on the NHS in UK is such that if you don't take care, you will die even
years,
before
4
you
years,
get
5
the time
years.
to meet a doctor. So many of them are coming back to Ghana, to some South Africa, some to Nigeria, because some private hospitals in Nigeria
very
can
well
compete
established.
any day
Yeah.
with established hospitals elsewhere.
Around the world. I see.
People are even coming to Africa for the breast
breast
cosmetic surgery.
cosmetic surgery. People are coming to African
Body
hospitals.
enhancement.
Prof. Love.
Body enhancement.
All right. I want to ask Shamima, has government ever thought of a private-public partnership for Korle-Bu? No, for Korle-Bu.
For Korle-Bu in particular?
Yes, for Korle-Bu. Because at the moment it looks like there's no funds for it, and the place is looking really derelict with a lot of land and everything.
Korle-Bu is one of the hospitals I mentioned
but you see,
who the PPPs
it's piecemeal.
are going on.
Piecemeal. Can we
to look
get
at it
a
comprehensively?
comprehensive look at Korle-Bu? if
Because
it is
even the
possible?
look.
Yeah, the look. It
I
doesn't
think
even,
that there is some private-public partnership with some
Happening.
departments.
Yeah, but like
in Korle-Bu,
collective, the whole
And when
Korle-Bu
you go to
concept.
those departments, you can tell. I think it's heart, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, the heart
I stand to be
has its
corrected.
own.
Yeah, so you can see
Because
clearly that.
Korle-Bu, yes, all the things that you want, you get
All right.
there. But even looking at the place now,
$24 million
It's depressing. You should go to the bathroom. If you've not been to
I've been
the bathroom,
That's what I'm saying. But you see,
in Korle-Bu, it's heartbreaking.
But the things that are being used, those old commodes.
Let me tell you, when I went to Korle-Bu about 4 years ago regarding this young friend of mine I mentioned. So there are no bed sheets, there are no pillows, there are no buckets. When the sick
And the
person
water is
arrives,
not running
you are
sometimes.
told to go and buy bed sheets, buy a bucket, buy a pillow, buy
Dettol.
sponge, buy everything. And this is usually parents rushing in with very sick children. It's very heartbreaking.
It is.
Not to talk of
Common
disappointing.
Macintosh.
But now
And to
I
see
need to
that
add that
the-
irrespective of all of these things, healthcare is still relatively cheaper
Yes.
in Ghana
Yes.
than it is in your Americans
You know,
and your
Shamima, we don't
UKs.
discount the fact that our doctors, our healthcare providers are amongst the best in
yes,
the
combined.
world.
They are.
Because my experience at the Neuro Center with, I forgot if this doctor is, he has another name, it doesn't come to me immediately. The work that they did on this child blew my mind. We were so grateful, all right? And it was relatively
was able
affordable.
to undertake
Adam,
the
thank you.
first
But like Prof said, the
Another
post-care,
did that surgery.
post-surgical
Care is
care
a problem.
is what killed this child.
Yes, it's a post-surgical.
And we'll come back to it another day. Let's move on to
So let's break
our
together.
land issues. Let's move on to our land issues. And I was saying earlier, I see a lot of your messages about buying land in Ghana and the problems that accompany, the purchase of land. And it's got historical roots, from our land tenure system to registration of land to the number of owners to one piece of land, customary issues, chieftaincy issues, family issues, even the number of years a person owns land for after they have purchases and the sort of interest they attain in the land after paying money. All of these things are sometimes not clear to us who buy and use land. And we are so happy to have in the studio with us one of the masters, the masterminds and authorities on land in Ghana, land law in Ghana. People who have contributed to the law, actually, and teach it as well. Professor Kwame-Jan, from where you sit and from all the experience that you have garnered and all that you know, what is the main problem? What is the main challenge causing our land disputes in Ghana, which sometimes even result in death?
Now, there are main challenges. If you say a main challenge, then
there are many.
You are trying to discount the multiplicity of the issues. But the first one is the pluralist legal system that we are running.
Okay. What is that?
A pluralist legal system is a legal system that allows the simultaneous application of more than one body of law at the same time within the jurisdiction. So we have customary systems, we have common law, English common law systems, we have statutory systems, we have constitutional systems. In some cases, Islamic systems working in the same jurisdiction at the same time. So, and this has constitutional recognition in Article 11 of the Constitution, which sets out the laws of Ghana and includes all these different bodies of law as being part of our law. So you could sit in Accra and prepare a conveyance, and English law will apply to land in
Ghana.
Accra. So that is one of our problems. The next problem is the general indiscipline in this country. The general indiscipline has crept into the land sector. So you have multiplicity of sales from the same source, the use of land guards, development without permits. That cluster of issues is there. Then the absence of clearly demarcated boundaries between the people we call large landowners. So let's stay in Accra. What's the boundary between La and Teshi? What's the boundary between Nungwa and Teshi? What's the boundary between Asren and Jamestown, Alata? And then the communities that live on the coast, they also have land in the hinterland. So when you move off the coast, you get to Bawaleshi, you move on towards Amrahia, Oyarefa, Damfa, Kweman. These areas in the hinterland have their relatives on the coast. So the boundaries, Pantan, is supposed to be Teshi. Now, Teshi is also at the coast. So you have this thing. And then...
But it's difficult to understand how a land in Pantan is owned by the people of Teshi. Mm-hmm. How exactly can one understand these boundaries?
If you go back to the customary system, there are a number of ways in which our customary communities got their lands. So one of the ways was discovery and occupation of a terra nullus. That's you are a pioneer of a particular group. You find land undeveloped, unoccupied, and you pitch your camp there, and your people follow you. So you have discovered land. Like what we were told, that there was a gentleman called Christopher Columbus who discovered America, and there was a gentleman called Don Diego de Azambuja who discovered the Gold Coast. Is that not what they told us?
Yes.
Yes. So there were people among our natives who also discovered land.
Yes.
And if you go up north, for example, where you talk about the Tindanas, the Tindana is supposed to be the descendants of the first settler. Yeah. So they make decisions about the land. So we have our own systems down south.
So when the people of Teshi discovered and settled in
Teshi. So they live on the coast. Mm-hmm. They go out to the hinterland to farm.
Okay.
And where they farmed became Teshi.
It also became...
La people went and farmed around Medina and Bawaleshi, it became La.
Okay, so they left their original settlement. But their lands are not
contiguous.
That's the question.
The land at the coast is not stretching all the way to the hinterland.
So they jump.
They jump and form clusters of settlements.
Okay. So now as a purchaser of land, and some of the issues regarding land ownership arise, if somebody, how can you know? Is there a place you can go to read that the land I want to buy at Bawaleshi is owned by the people of La?
A place you go and read. I have studied and taught this thing I studied land law 35 years ago or more. I've been teaching land law in Legon for 26 years. I still don't have all the answers. So you want to go and read, and afterwards you become an expert and you know who owns where.
If you want to buy land, that's the question. Because one of the issues that we have seen recur is multiplicity of sale. You buy land from this person who has all the documents or appears to have it. Then somebody else from another family, sometimes the same family, also has documents which suggest that he owns it, and he's also selling it to another person. And then multiple people buy from multiple people, and then it becomes a problem.
And then when it goes to the court, because of the rules, the cases never end. So you want land. You may rush to the Lands Commission to try to check on the records there. But when you get to the Lands Commission, you realize that some of the records too are not accurate. So in some cases, when you run a search in the Lands Commission, there will be in small letters, a disclaimer which says, if you rely on this search and you suffer, don't come back. Because the records, for some time now, the plan was to digitize all the old records so that you can do a search in real time. But that also has become a problem because some of the papers, the records, are breaking apart. Some
are so old,
torn off, and you have to find a way to piece them together with sellotape.
This is a Lands Commission.
Yes. So our records are problematic. And even the surveys, some of the surveys that were done years back, and the kind of instruments that were used. Today, some people say that land has shifted. Some of the land problems, they claim the land has shifted. The land itself has not shifted. It was the lack of precision in the survey, which was done previously, which today, if you subject it to the current level of precision, you realize that the land that was here has now come to this place. Yes. Because survey upgrades in terms of equipment and skill levels have made it more precise now than it was before when they were drawing tapes and compass and somebody would. So now, if you want to get land, you need to get professional support. In fact, even in some cases, the professional will make a mistake. Because there will be some document hidden somewhere in the Lands Commission which you wouldn't find. Maybe a document was registered in 1905. When you run the search does not disclose fully that there was this transaction.
Okay.
So you advise your client to go ahead with the transaction only to realize later that that document existed.
Okay. I think we should slow down. Let's properly understand how one can come to own land. Let's start from there.
So
and let's speak. Yes. So in terms of individual, family, and so on, how can one come to own land? And
so now there are different clusters of the land.
Okay.
There are some lands in this country we call stew lands or skin lands. So if you are in a stew land or skin land area, the appropriate authority that you deal with is the stew or the skin.
You can't buy it from an individual.
Now you would then look at the next level. So the skin or the stew would have a certain interest in the land, which will be higher than that an individual or a family may have in the same piece of land.
When you say interest, what do you mean?
The rights.
Okay.
When I say interest, I'm talking about the rights that a party would have in respect of the land. So the stew has maybe the allodial title or allodial interest.
What does that mean?
Which is the highest estate or the highest power over the land. If a stew has the allodial, the people who are the constituents of the stew would have subordinate interests, which would be freeholds. So the stew has the upper level, a family would have been in possession for a long time. Maybe that was your grandmother's land. Your grandmother has left for your mother. Now your mother has left it for you. So your family would have controlled that land for 200 years. Your family has a usufruct in that land. And the law is that the stool cannot dispossess your family.
Okay.
The skin cannot dispossess your family.
Can you dispossess your family?
You, a member of the group, if the family has given you
The land.
Then you can protect your interests even against the family.
Okay.
So it depends on the interest you have in the particular piece of land.
So if you go and buy land at a place which is a stool land and it's being sold to you by a family member of the land, of that property.
That family member most likely will be a usufruct who has been on the land undisturbed for years.
What is usufruct?
A usufruct is somebody who has use of the land as of right.
Okay.
Because he is a member of the group.
So not being a member of the group, if I come and I want to buy the land, who am I supposed to buy this land from? Am I supposed to buy it from the family member or from the
You
stool?
should deal first with the family member who by custom will have to introduce you to the stool.
He has to?
Yes. Okay. Because there is authority in the case of Total Oil Products versus Obing that the customary services that the indigene used to render to the stool, that non-member would have to be introduced to the stool, and the stool would decide whether to commute the customary service to cash or something else.
Okay.
You have to know your landlord. Is that not the case?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, the stool or skin is your landlord.
Does it affect the purchase I have made if I buy it from the owner, the current owner of the land, which is the individual? Okay. When I use the word owner loosely. Mm-hmm. So if I buy it from him and I go and register it and all of that.
In some of the cases,
do I have to?
The stool would have registered itself as the owner. That individual would not have that individual's data in the Lands Commission.
It is true.
So normally, if you watch Accra, the person in occupation will give you the land. He will carry you to somebody else to give you the document.
Yes.
It is because there might be a statutory declaration covering a wider area made by some clan head or family head or stool occupant or skin occupant.
So what we are saying is that if you want to buy land in Ghana, there's no clear, or there's not only one route to take, depending on where the land is and the ownership of the land.
So, for example, if the land is in Adan, you don't go see a chief, because over there, no chief owns land or holds land in trust. The lands are held by clan heads. Mm-hmm. And this, you have to be explained to by a professional.
Yeah. So first, call a professional.
Yes, so you call a professional, and the professional will give you an indication as to who controls land where you are heading to.
Area. Okay.
So if you head to a place like Bolga and you want land, you don't go to the Bolga and Abbas Palace for land. You have to go and look for the Tindana who has jurisdiction in the area where you are looking for land. But if you are from down south, the Achim, Asante, Akan areas where you deal with chiefs, and you go to some other parts of the country thinking that you are going to deal with a chief, you are going to have issues.
I was going to ask you to give us a clear roadmap. Mm-hmm. So somebody today has seen land for sale.
You have seen some land at East Legon.
Yes.
Maybe near Abedi Palace area. East Legon is La. And generally, East Legon is either Bawaleshi or Otele, which have been combined into East Legon. East Legon is just a name which has been given to that place to enhance the value of the properties for purposes of making money.
It's actually Otele.
It's either Otele or Bawaleshi.
Otele
or Bawaleshi.
Okay. Please, let's call things by their right name.
So the East Legon is Otele. Yes. Otele. It's like West Legon. Most of West Legon is Papao.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's Papao.
But if you say Papao, people don't want to buy for premium. So you just say West Legon and you are selling.
There's a place called East Legon Hills, actually.
Even Nigerian, they want us to call ourselves East Legon.
In some cases, it's Legon extension.
Yes.
Because of it's all for marketing.
I like.
So
Even Chado is chain homes.
so now you identify the place you are interested in.
Okay.
First and foremost, go to the ground. Ask the neighbors if you have been given plot A. Ask who has plot B, C, D, E, who gave them their lands.
Okay.
That will be your first step in determining whether you are going to buy land or buy litigation. Because you go to an area and everybody was given land by a different person. So all the 4 plots around you, one says, I got it from Kofi, Ama, Ya, Ajwa, and Yao is giving it to you. That's a signal that there will be a problem. But if you go to the land and all the adjoining owners are saying, oh, we got it from Na, you ask them about what they have encountered since they started building. Have people come to harass them? That's your first start. That's you are doing your own due diligence. Then the next thing, if you walk into a place and walls have been broken and it appears that it's been broken forcibly through violence, run.
Walls have been broken.
Yes, you see, walls have been made and broken
On the front
in a
ground.
violent way because you can see if people come violently to demolish walls, you see parts have been forcibly collapsed. The next building part has been removed. It should give you an indication that that area has turbulence.
Okay.
Now, if you walk into an area and you see a lot of elephant grass, watch out because that place may be a flood-prone area, waterlogged. So it is not even advisable to do your due diligence in the dry season. There are most parts of our cities and towns that are riverine areas. If you see water flowing in the rainy season, you will never try to buy land in those areas. But because sometimes we buy land in the dry season, so you wouldn't know what you are going into and the rains will come. So your first line of business is to go to the ground and do your own physical investigation. Then, when you are given a site plan, get your own surveyor to go to the ground to confirm whether the land is actually where it is.
Because sometimes they will cut a piece of the ocean
I have
for
seen
you.
a place where a situation where a client of mine was given land at Boteman, given a site plan. When we plotted the site plan, the land was at Ashalaja.
So it's fake.
So that is why I'm saying when the prospective vendor of land gives you a plan, get your own surveyor to validate the plan. Don't take that site plan you have been given as if that's the end.
Okay.
Because you must check the coordinates of the plan and locate it physically on the ground, on earth.
And that will be done by a surveyor.
A surveyor.
So first, go and ask your neighbors. Second, be sure about the elephant grass or the time of year. And then third, get your own surveyor
to confirm and validate the site plan.
Okay, what's the next thing you have to do?
After you have validated the site plan, now you are going to the Lands Commission to run a search.
Okay.
It will give you the search at the Lands Commission. Don't go and do an unofficial search. If you see any Goro boy standing there and you tell them, I want to do a search, and he says, bring 2,000, and he goes back and brings you something written, scribble, and say, this is the search, you are going to have your own issues. And don't also let the vendor go to do a search for you, because he can procure a search which will suit his purpose. He wants to sell you land.
So do it yourself.
Get your own search done and do it official. Don't
But
go
the
and
official process, the reason from what I have heard and experiences that people have shared, the official process sometimes takes so long.
Now,
and so they think that it is better to get somebody who works there to try
no,
to get, and that's what people do.
The official searches do come faster these days.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the reason. As part of the land reforms project, they have now created a common depository of records at the Lands Commission. In the past, you have to go and search separately at the Land Title Registry. You search at the Land Registry. You search at what was known as the Lands Commission. You go and search at Survey and Mapping. So you would have done about 4 searches before. Now you submit a request for 1 search, and when the report comes, all the information available in the Lands Commission setup will be on the search report.
All right.
I don't think Ghanaians know this.
So you will see a search report which says this is the situation at the Survey and Mapping Division. This is the situation at the Land Registration Division. This is the situation at the Public and Vested Lands Management Division.
And all
in one report.
And you get this from
the Lands Commission.
The Lands Commission.
So you get it in one report.
All right.
And these days, because they are going through some digitizations, their searches are getting more and more accurate.
Okay.
They will disclose about 10 conflicting transactions, but at least that gives you an opportunity to decide whether you will conclude the transaction or not, because they will tell you that the site is not state land. The site portion marked A is affected by the following recorded transaction. The portion marked B, and you will see all the transactions, sometimes 30 transactions.
So you would see if there's litigation on the land.
Exactly.
Okay.
It will show whether there are judgments on the land and who won the judgment. In fact, in some cases, it will even show that there is a case pending.
I see.
In respect of the land.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question? In terms of tribal conflicts around land, how do we deal with that? Where does that come into this?
The tribal conflicts around land come in because of the settlement modes. I did some research up north around Wa, and I was asking the locals, how do you determine who got here first? And you know some method they said, oh, you can partly make that determination looking at the size of their refuse dump and the age of the refuse dump of a particular area.
To show how long they have been there for?
Yes.
And this is in 2025?
Yes.
That is how they determine who got here
It is partly how the customary people determine who got here first.
Wow.
Because when you came determines your land rights.
Right.
And the question that Shamima is asking has to do with who is a native or an indigenous person and who is a settler. And this is one of the biggest problems in this country that we have to deal with. What bundle of rights do we give to settlers? For example, can they establish their own chiefships? Can settlers have their own graveyards? Can they bury their dead without going to some overlord to seek permission? So, and for how long should somebody have been settled on land to convert to become an indigene? In most cases, the customary law says you can't.
You are still a settler.
There is an old case called Mensah versus Blow. And in Mensah versus Blow, the court said, if you're a licensee, you will always remain a licensee. And that if a piece of wood stays in water for 1,000 years, it doesn't become a crocodile.
Yes.
It is still a piece of wood.
So if this is what the customary law is saying, then as a country, we have to deal with it. Should we
So you're a settler
change it
even if you become a citizen?
of Ghana?
Yes.
You could be a citizen of Ghana, but not a native of
the town.
a place. You could be a citizen of Ghana, but not a native of a place.
To own land in a certain way.
Yes. So what we are grappling with as a country is how do we protect the rights of the so-called settler to access land and to be able to insulate this right from the institution of chieftaincy. Because in some cases, settlers want to extend settlership to chieftaincy. That we have been here for 100 years, we want to have our own chiefs. And an overlord says, no, chiefship is ours.
What are the clear rights of settlers in relation to land ownership?
You know, it's normally either by agreement, or in most cases, there were no agreements. There was this thing that we use strangers to expand communities.
Yeah.
Haven't you heard that they say early days when the early comers to Accra, the Ghana people being so generous and receptive, will carry you to the place, they will show you a land, they throw a stone,
Wherever it
lands. If that side, the landing is not enough, they will go and stand at where he landed and throw again. At that time, land was not a commodity for sale. So most of the settlers who came, and remember, when did Ghana become Ghana? Wasn't it 6 March 1957? But no, people were very fluid in terms of movement. Ethnic groups in Ghana are also in Cote d'Ivoire and in Togo and in Burkina Faso. So you can easily merge into a community, and your language, when they are speaking, you hear your language inside. So when you arrive, you have arrived. Last week, somebody was telling me there have been some Burkinabe refugees who have crossed towards the upper northern part of Ghana. And the language they speak is the same as the language the Ghana side speaks. They have merged into the community. They probably will not go back.
So unfortunately,
I just wanted to ask, is there a limitation whereby a landowner, like a chief, can re-enter land that has been given out or sold?
It depends. If it was given to you on a leasehold,
Okay.
and the lease says you should develop the land within 3 years, and you don't, then the person who would try to re-enter would come in by way of enforcement of a contract. But even that, re-entry is a forfeiture. You have to go to court and get an order.
Okay.
Not that you yourself have walked in and taken over the land. No.
Before we end this session, I would want you to talk about the concept of ownerless lands in Ghana. Are there ownerless lands? I ask this because sometimes there's bare land. Somebody will come and bring their container or whatever and settle on the land. They can be there for some time, and then they begin to assert rights over the land as if they purchased it or it was transferred to them by whatever means. So are there ownerless lands? And what are the rights of people who enter lands like that?
Those lands are not ownerless. You remember in years before our ancestors were born, there was an association in this country made up of intelligentsia, the academics, the educated elite, called the Aborigines Land Protection Society, Aborigines Rights Protection Society. It was founded around 1896 to protest against the Crown Lands Bill of 1897. The Crown Lands Bill of 1897 sought to vest all the ownerless lands in the Gold Coast in the British Crown. And our people, our forebears, their answer to this was that there were no ownerless lands in the Gold Coast. And that in the Gold Coast, every piece of land has an owner. So now, there is no ownerless land here. There could be vacant land, but if you have traveled up north by road, you could go all the way, miles, without seeing any settlement. Yes. And you might think that all those lands are ownerless. Go and put your tractor on the land and start grading and see that they are owners. They will come. So from the decisions of the Aborigines Right Protection Society in 1897, from that protest, we accepted that in this country, every land has an owner.
So for people who occupy vacant lands and over time begin to assert rights, at first they come in with a little container, before you know it, they're doing some construction, then before you know it, they are acting as though they have rights or they own the land. What rights do they have, if any?
If they stay on the land continuously, without disturbance, for 12 years, and the owners know of their presence but they don't protest, the title of the owners are extinguished. This is in the Limitations Act.
What is the meaning? Say it in plain words.
It means that if you allow somebody to sit on your land and behave like he's the owner for 12 years without you throwing the person out, at the end of year number 12, you have no land.
So he can go and register the land as his.
Do a declaration at the Lands Commission that he has become an owner by limitations, by adverse possession.
Okay. But the caveat is that you must know that they are there.
Yes, but This will not apply to the Republic. If you look at Section 236 of the Land Act, it says you cannot use limitations against the Republic of Ghana. So if you go on state land for 1 million years, when the state wants the land back, the state can throw you out. It is not the same with private land. If you go onto private land, after 12 years, you can take it, you keep it. But for state land, no limitations. So those people who go on government land, whenever government wants to execute a project on that land, government will come and throw you out.
All right, let me read some messages coming in.
Land law 101 really concluded.
Is it land, state land?
No, it's Legon. There is a case decided called Nikote Amli versus Rebecca Kufuor, which says that Bawaleshi and Otele belong to Clan Akota of La.
So it's not government land?
No. Unless you are in the ambassadorial enclave. The ambassadorial enclave, part of that land was acquired in the airport extension acquisition. For the acquisition for the extension of the Accra airport. It was the arrival of the motorway that cut off a portion of the land which was schemed for allocation. Otherwise, part of East Legon is actually part of the airport.
All right. Let me read some of the messages coming in. Now, please, the time you have given to Professor Jan is too short. These are the things you should be discussing. Now, please, the professor, no. I think this program is too short for him. Please invite him to come tomorrow. Good morning, Nashoko. Please give Professor Jan 4 hours, please.
4 hours.
Another cause of these disputes is the town planning committee and town documenting processes in Ghana. They do it without consulting the owners of the lands. Also, chief endorsements of lands. Also, how many years does one own land for? And what can you do when the time lapses? All right. Now, please, a friend of mine bought land. We've gone to do the search, and we realized it belongs to the VRA. But the owner of the land made us know that the chief has to sign the indenture. However, we are being told that if we get the indenture, you'll be given 2 years to develop the land before the indenture will be given to you.
This land probably is around.
Is this land valid or not?
The land should be around Asojaman because it will fall in the acquisition for Volta River development.
Okay.
Should the person run away?
Yeah, that you should run away.
You shouldn't buy it. Okay.
Because it may even be in the floodplain.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah.
It may be in the floodplain.
Yeah. Lawyer Ediji Tamaklo says, good morning, Nine, your esteemed panel members. Good to see Professor Kwame Jan on set. I'm waiting to hear Kwan and Yening. I'm waiting to hear Amuzu versus Oklika.
He is one of my illustrious former students. I extend my greetings to him.
Yes. All right.
We actually have felt like we've been sitting in the
It's been very,
and finally, now, you see that you people know what you should be doing and you've been doing other things. Please greet your producers for me for this very amazing session on the things we need to know about land law.
You know,
these things are not political and can never have political colors. Yeah. We need to learn these things as Ghanaians and stop doing NDC and MPP.
Now, your producer called me only yesterday in the evening.
Oh.
And it's because of my love for this station. I decided to reschedule all my meetings.
Thank you.
To come here this morning.
We love you.
It was a very
thank you.
We're impromptu request.
We are normally not like that.
For love of country.
Thank you.
You've been great.
For love of
country. Prof, a question. Okay. It's perhaps unrelated, but in the spirit of nationhood and building nation and making everybody feel a sense of belongingness. Okay. Again, today you've given us the difference between being a citizen and being a native, and why we must all understand these differences and nuances. There's a conversation going on social media with regards to, what languages we project over which other languages. So the specific matter has to do with a signage that had welcome and Akwaba, Akwaba as a welcome term that we all, have been used over the years. And the sentiments within the Ga community that at least on Ga land, the least we can do is to also include Obake or any other terminology in Ga that stands for welcome. And sometimes the comments you see or read are quite unfortunate. If we want to build an inclusive country where we all belong, how do we navigate these dynamics?
Shamima, let me tell you something. One of the biggest problems we have had as people who drafted the laws for the land sector is terminologies.
Yes.
Terminologies. There are two concepts, abusa and abunu, where they are sharecropping tenants, and the crop or the proceeds of the sale of the crop is shared into two parts, or 1/3 for the farmer and 2/3 for the landowner, or vice versa.
Yes.
These are they are notorious facts in terms of their reach. But in the law, we were not comfortable putting in abunu, because if you put in abunu and abusa, it appears that you are going on the account thing. So one day you see people say accounts were the people at the forefront of the drafting. So they highlighted the account language. That is why when I said usufruct, now ask what is a usufruct? Why?
Even I'm not sure I can spell it.
Usufruct is coming from Roman law. Usus fructus.
Please spell it.
Usufruct, U-S-U-F-R-U-C-T. It's someone who has use rights over land that are enduring. And it is coming from a Latin root, usus fructus. Why are we in 2025 using a Latin terminology, usus fructus, to determine or call or describe interest in land? It is because we as a people don't have one language or dialect, but we are also not comfortable when a dialect or a word or phrase from a particular language is used. So we end up saying, let's say usufruct, and nobody understands.
Unfortunate.
You see? So many years back, before you were born, when they read the news at GBC, Radio 1 later, the news in Dagwani, the news in Hausa, Mampurugu, Nzema, I mean, that was Ghana, not so.
Yes.
Now,
we were born at the time.
You were born?
Yeah, we remember, even Showcase was in Ghana, in Chi, in Hausa.
You see? So, at what point are we going to move away from our pockets of comfort towards a nation called Ghana? Now, have you ever seen a Russian president at the UN speaking English? When our presidents, they go there, they speak better English than the Queen's people, not so. Could we have adopted, you know what the East Africans have done with Kiswahili?
Yes.
Could we have done that here? Maybe this conversation you have started should continue, because I have seen it live and colored in drafting these land documents. We don't have local terminology. We are still using Roman law terminologies to describe our situation here.
This is a conversation that has to be had, and which we cannot finish in one session. But I think we all agree that Professor Kwame has really given us a master class on land ownership in Ghana.
You should come and sit in my class.
For free.
The rest of the country. You come and sit in my class.
And if he will allow us, because of his love for TV3 and country and God, he will come back
at your request. Once I can manage my schedule,
I'll come back to give us. We'll break it down further. Today we've done a wholesale discussion, but of course, when he said usufruct, we were all asking, what is usufruct and how do you spell it? And so these things are important for us to learn as we grow and we acquire land, use land, on land. We need to know exactly if we are doing the right thing, and to prevent litigation, the heartache, and even death that comes with it. So we are grateful to you, Prof. And we look forward to having you again very soon.
My two ladies. Miss Ayana, I have not met on set like this. But it's refreshing to have both of them.
Yes.
Shamima, when you go, give my regards to the president.
I will tell him.
This one is public service. I have no charge.
So thank you so much, Shamima Muslim, Deputy Spokesperson for the President, and our favorite auntie, Rodelyn Imoro Ayana, public interest activist, and a woman who gives us rich history. We need to know about things that happened in Ghana years ago. We bring you the very best. Still, you're watching TV3 New Day. We still have more conversations coming. We've got sports, and we just might have another conversation on land. I'll let you know. When we come back, we'll cash out. If you dial *439#, here's your chance to win 2,000 Ghana cedis. I've got 16,000 going out to 8 of you. So play and win. Dial *439#, select option 2 for TV3 and win. Now, are you looking for a university that will prepare your child for the future? Then Academic City University is the best choice for you. At Academic City University, we don't just teach, we nurture creators, innovators, and leaders who shape tomorrow's world. We offer undergraduate programs in engineering, computer science, business, communication arts, and BSc in artificial intelligence, robotics, and engineering. We are the first of its kind in sub-Saharan Africa, with world-class facilities, industry experienced faculty, and students who attend our school don't just learn the latest technology, they create the latest technology. And for working professionals and young graduates, we've got you covered also with our MSc program in cybersecurity and data science analytics. We as well have professional certificate programs for you. At Academic City University, our programs are practical, they're relevant, and they're future-focused. Give us a call on 026-269-3870 or visit our website, act.edu.gh, for more information. Admissions are now open. Academic City, make your mark. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.